I don't read many books. Even if I love to learn, I mostly get my information from podcasts and videos because it's a lot more efficient to spend 2-3 hours listening to somebody's life rather than spending 20 to 25 hours, or 7 if you use an audiobook, to listen to their entire story. And that's why the books that I have to recommend, the reason why I read them in full is because I admire those people so much that I wanted to know the full story. And that's why in this week's episode of Master Talk, I'm going to be giving my 3 favorite books of all time and why I swear by them, just in time for the holiday season. Hi everyone. I hope you're doing well. Brendan from Master Talk here, your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're covering my top 3 favorite books in ascending order so that you can master your talk, your impact, and your action taking. So let's get into it. Number 1, my favorite book of all time, Thirst by Scott Harrison, that I have right here. Thirst tells the story of a young guy named Scott Harrison who built one of the largest water charities in the world, from zero to raising $350 million in 13 years. And what I love the most about Thirst, not only that it hit the New York Times seller book, which was awesome, but the main reason is a lot of people, a lot of youngsters, millennials, people in general, want to make an impact but struggle to find the right framework and how to do it. Okay, I want to solve climate change. I want to do this. I want to solve the water crisis, but how do I do it? That's why I find Thirst is an excellent read, not only because I'm a personal advocate for the charity and the story, but more specifically because it presents a framework on how to solve any problem and gives you the inspiration, the tactics, and the courage to actually pursue it. Because Scott Harrison had no knowledge whatsoever on nonprofits, he knew nothing about making an impact, and now he's the leading voice on water and sanitation in the world. Right? He solved 1.5% of the entire water crisis, just his own organization, which is insanity. So my point is simple. By reading Thirst, you'll get a lot of great insights on how to make an impact, but also on how to storyboard. Because another thing that's great about Scott is he's a master storyteller. His video that I'll link in the description below, called The Spring by Scott Harrison and Charity Water, tells the story of the entire organization in 20 minutes, and 17%, so 1/5 of the people who watch the video become monthly givers to the charity, which is unheard of in this sector. So by understanding how he storyboards, how he thought about the charity, and how he grew it through all the challenges that he's very transparent about, you can use those insights to feed the own causes and organizations that you want to go after. Whether it's nature conservatories, whether it's climate change, whether it's a water crisis, whether it's violence in general, you'll be able to use the insights and bring them back into your organizations and causes that you care about. Number 2. The second book that I want to recommend to you is called Give and Take by Adam Grant. So Give and Take argues that being a giver, so someone who gives more than they take, is strategic rather than just being the nice guy. Because we always hear this all the time. Nice guys finish last. Nice guys never win. Only sharks win. And that's not true at all. And Adam Grant, who's a behavior psychologist from the Wharton School, so from the University of Pennsylvania, is probably one of the smartest minds on this, and he's also a very good speaker, so I recommend his TED Talk, which I'll link below in the description as well. And what's great about Adam is he breaks down givers and takers, so people who give more than they take and people who take more than they give, and uses concrete examples to prove the argument that givers always win in the long term. And a great example in Master Talk is the reason it's become successful or has some sort of success is because of the community I built around it before I even started. Because I gave a lot to my university community. When I started it, there's so many people who wanted to support me, not because of the cause, but rather the person. They believed in me so much that they wanted to make a difference, from the person who made my logo for free to the person who does all my professional videos that are coming out soon, that does them at a very fair rate. So if you have that network because you gave so much, they'll then give back to you. Because I'm a big believer in karma, and I think it's a lot more strategic than you would actually think it is. So think about that moving forward. Number 3, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. 0 to 1 is a very interesting read because it's highly controversial and it's very reflective. When you think about the tech companies in the world, like the Facebooks, the PayPals, and all of this jazz, you wonder who are the people behind this and what sort of thinking that they had to make these dreams come to life. Because these tech companies are probably the hardest things to build in the entire world. So if you can understand how they built them, when you go back to your passions, that might be easier on a relative basis, not always, but at least on the equivalent level of difficulty. You'll be able to use those lessons to build better businesses, better organizations, better nonprofits for whatever you're doing. And the thoughts from 0 to 1 was actually what helped me derive the idea for MasterTalk. Because Peter Thiel in chapter 1 asked the following question to all of his readers, which goes as follows. He argues that the best companies and ideas are always based on secrets. Things that most people disagree of. Things that most people don't think is true, but that a very small minority think is. Think about PayPal, right? The money transferring system. The idea in the late 1990s was we can email money to each other, like without hard, cold cash. Isn't that a laughable idea in 1995? Who, like, what, you're telling me you're taking an email and sending it to someone and there's going to be money? Are you, like, crazy? Or if you told me 15 years ago that I was going to take a car, or I was going to bring my nieces and nephews who are much younger than me and bring them in a stranger's car to go somewhere without any supervision, I would have told you you're crazy. But today that's Uber, right? Or that I was going to sleep in somebody else's house and pay them to do that, I would have called you crazy, but that's also called Airbnb, right? So everything is based on secrets. And the question that he asks and probes his readers at the beginning is the following. What is the truth that you believe in that most people would disagree with you on? And the more truths you find, the more creative ideas you'll derive to make a bigger impact on the world. And MasterTalk is one of those unique truths, because I believe that communication information can be taught to a wide audience, and people can master it without me being there to coach them personally. And that is the thesis I'm working off with. And my rationale for you, and why you should also pick up this book during the holiday season, is because you can start to reflect on what are your truths. What are the things that most people disagree with you on? What are the truths that you believe? And then by executing on those beliefs, you'll be able to create an impact that only you can make. Thirst by Scott Harrison. Give and Take by Adam Grant, and 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Even if they took me so long to read because I'm a slow reader, they were worth every second of my time. That's why I highly recommend you pick up all 3 of these books if you're someone who's purpose-driven that wants to make an impact in the world. With that said, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. Books, honestly, I don't invest much time in. But the ones that I always recommend, if they were worth my time, for someone who doesn't read that often, they're definitely worth yours. So be sure to check out the talks that I'll link in my description as teasers to the books. And if you enjoyed the talks, check out the books. Take care, everyone. Have an awesome holiday season, and I'll see you next time with my new professional videos on Master Talk. Cheers.